Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tree of Life Tarot. This is going to be the daily energy read for Tuesday, April 21st. But of course, if this finds you at a later date, trust the timing of tarot. It always arrives in perfect time. Now, I was a little torn about what deck to use. I usually only bring this one out. This is the Nicoletta Ciccoli Tarot. It's this. You can see it's well worn and used. But I felt like my Rider-Waite and my Witch's Tarot just needed a break. Well, interesting. Sometimes, tarot just needs to rest. And so I'm resting those decks. And this one is one of my personal favorites. I love the art on this one. So bottom of the deck, King of Wands. We'll come back to the King of Wands, but oh, this is so refreshing to see these two cards out here. So this is the Temperance here on the left, and this is Empress here on the right. So Temperance, is the great alchemizer. It's restoring balance. It is, finding harmony and flow again. She's usually depicted as an angel pouring water between two cups, and she's got one foot in the water, which is the unconscious, and 1 foot on land, which is the material. Now, in this card, our character here, I'll hold this up so you can see it, is depicted sleeping on a fish. And I love the fish in these decks. Very much for me, they are in the way that birds are often considered messengers of the divine because they come from the sky. Fish are sort of the birds of the sea. And the sea is the emotional realm, the unconscious. And also what I particularly love is, this is a card about restoring balance, but this is restoring balance through rest, through going back into that inner imaginal realm and letting dreams come to the surface, letting those little messengers of the unconscious carry us for a while. There's perhaps, and I'm feeling this pretty strongly, especially we have here our King of Wands on the bottom of the deck, which is very active, dynamic, external, like yang kind of energy. It's doing, moving, fire. And that is wonderful until it burns you out. We can only be in that mode for so long before we start to hit burnout mode, before our adrenal system just, is spent and needs a rest. And here I'm seeing that much needed rest. This is rebalancing after maybe a little bit of a prolonged King of Wands, external pushing fire mode. And the way that balance is coming is by coming back into that internal, emotional, subconscious, the dreamy realm, Listen to your dreams. It's always good advice. Now, the Empress here is our divine feminine. It's the mother. She is fertility itself. She is Gaia, Mother Earth. She is, connecting and one with all of the elements. And you see here, she's sort of communing with a little insect. She's got her, insect friends all around her. She is very serene. She is very peaceful. She is very at one with the elements. And so I love this here because this is very, you could say Temperance is balancing yin and yang, but I do feel this is a much more yin expression here. And the Empress, of course, is that ultimate yin feminine. Her mantra is, I don't chase, I attract. King of Wands, he does a lot of chasing. In this deck is how she's depicted. So this is very much like a breath, a coming back in, a restoration, This is harmony with sort of the dream and the unconscious realm, and this is harmony with the natural realm. Okay. And this is what it's giving is right balance, restoration, after a season of pushing, coming back into kind of being held in the web of life, not pushing and driving through and creating from the web of life, if that makes sense to you. I could go on a much longer explanation about that, but I'm going to resist the temptation right now. Okay, I was told to leave those cards alone. Okay, 5 cards for the story, please, Spirit. Okay. Okay, so we have Justice. Now in this deck, if you're keeping score at home, I know that says 8, but it is Justice in this deck. Justice and Strength are reversed. I saw the High Priestess flip over, but she didn't want to come out. Okay, 7 of Swords, or excuse me, 7 of Wands. 6 of Wands, happy to see that. Justice came out in weekly as well. Okay. Do I take these? Yes, I do. Okay. So we have more cards than anticipated. Normally this should be 5, but being told these 2 go together, and then we'll take these 2 as 1. So bottom of the deck, 7 of Cups, which is sort of those cups of confusion and disorientation. We have our sort of Alice in Wonderland figure here, discovering not just one rabbit hole, but many. So there's a little bit of confusion going on here. Maybe some mixed messages from the unconscious, but we'll get into it. So starting off here, Justice. Okay, now what I'm immediately getting is that, and this definitely does speak to that theme of balancing out after a season of, you know, maybe some conflict, maybe an excess of dynamism. 7 of Wands can mean a lot of things. It can be sort of fighting external factors. This card also represents sort of making sure the punishment fits the crime, so to speak. But it can be, you know, challenges and competing egos. Interestingly, we'll come back to this in a minute, but notice our 7 of Wands character looks quite a bit like our Devil character here. So have you been sort of being driven excessively by the ego or by external demands or by the perception of external demands because there's a standard that we perceive that we're trying to live up to? Well, what this tells me is that there's been this conflict, and I'm getting a little bit of a power struggle. But with Justice here, it's, see if I can find the right words, because it's clear in my mind, but the words aren't coming as easily. Whatever this conflict has been like a power imbalance in some way. And Justice here is starting to set it right. And justice in the sort of old school sense, is not a sense of law and order, sort of crime and punishment, which is what is sort of being acted out in the 7 of Wands here. Justice is about restoring what belongs to whom in its proper order. And so things can become out of balance when we either take on something that is not ours to take on, when we force on others something that is not theirs, when we take something that is not ours to take, when someone takes something from us that is not theirs to take, be it a material thing, be it a task or energy, be it some kind of, you know, physical or mental or emotional violation. And I'm not getting from this one particular expression of that. I'm just getting that, you know, that could be different for everyone. And that's not to necessarily say malicious intent, but we did see that King of Wands at the bottom. And this can all combined just speak to there's been maybe an excess of pushing through, a jockeying for position, a need to conquer and get ahead. You know, 7 of Wands in traditional Rider-Waite, I would say it's a card of sort of climbing the ladder, like competing for what you want. It can have positive connotations as well, but with Justice here, it's a little bit tough. And I'm getting Justice is sort of coming in and correcting the 7 of Wands situation, which has been out of balance. And then here we see in the center, 6 of Wands which is victory. It's coming home victorious. It's, you know, I love this card. Let me just show it to you. We have our friend here riding on her, I believe it's a mosquito. We've got the elephant castle in the background. It's just so creative. But it's riding forward, having overcome obstacles and challenges. And it's conquering, it's victory, not conquering. That's what I want to say. This is victory, not conquering. So the obstacle has been overcome, but it's sixes are also all about balance. So it's things coming back into balance. You know, it's winning the right way in a way that benefits all, which is the whole point of justice. So I see this shifting. This dynamic is shifting. Justice is being served and sort of restoring things to their right order. Now here we've got the Tower, and we've got the King of, this is the King of Swords. So our Tower, obviously sudden, unexpected changes is the traditional meaning of this card. This is sort of, interestingly, both Justice and the Tower here, you know, Justice literally here is a house of cards, a tower of cards. The Tower card, this one, is sort of building blocks. And, you know, instead of sort of having everything come tumbling down because of a lightning strike, she's juggling a lot, and if those balls drop, they're going to drop a long way. And, you know, being up here with the crown, there's a bit of a sense of, you know, crowns always represent the mind, our consciousness. It can be ego consciousness. You know, trying to juggle a bunch of things, and I'm getting a little bit of here of trying to juggle too much, of like the hubris of breaking off more than you can chew, so to speak. And then we have our King of Swords here, who is, you know, clear, rational, you know, grounded mentally. And in this card particularly, we see our King of Swords writing and creating. Now, the Tower together with the King of Swords, it gives me actually a more positive spin on the Tower, because this isn't just all about, you know, the Tower, I always say, is never a negative card. It's a necessary, natural, and often very positive change. It's just quite difficult in the meantime. But the difference in these two cards here is our King of Swords is creating, is using the mind to imagine something new. So whatever is coming down, and this is where this is actually quite positive for me, whatever has come down is already giving way to the writing of a new story. The King of Wands, I keep saying Wands, King of Swords here has such clarity of vision, which you see as she writes, it becomes reality around her. So the new vision is already coming forward, and this Tower coming down, the dropping of the balls that are being juggled, is making space for this new creation from a place of utmost clarity. So that's really positive. And that's to say, whatever, if you're still in the midst of the Tower, the new vision and new clarity, it's already in the works. These are simultaneous. And then here, oh yeah, I actually love that. Okay, so here, Eight of Pentacles with the Devil. Now the Eight of Pentacles is a card of learning new skills, mastery, kind of going through the repetitive motions of learning a new skill, which can be repetitive and a little bit arduous, but you know, it's how we learn. It's like, you know, writing the papers, like what is it in school that you have to do when you have to write things over and over again until it sinks in and you get it. That's what the Eight of Pentacles is about. And it can also speak to, you know, a skilled teacher coming in to help guide this process. And then here we have the Devil, which can be attachment, obsession, lust, which you sort of see depicted here. That egoic energy. So what I'm getting with this Eight of Pentacles You know, the phrase taskmaster is coming through. Taskmaster, if I can speak tonight, is really what's coming through here. Now, that can be... I'm getting the double-edged sword of the ego, because it is helpful in helping us move through the world and helping us master new things. It can also be to our detriment when we are not in touch with the more spiritual aspects, and it's all about, you know, the sort of 3D positioning of ourselves in terms of like a success, attainment of the job, of the money, of, you know, the partner or the object of desire, whatever that is. So we'll have to see what clarifies this, what this could kind of spin, kind of positive or negative for me. So let's get the clarifiers and see what they have to say. Oh, that came right up. Oh, I love this. Page of Wands. Got some fresh inspiration there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Which order am I taking these in? I'm being told reverse. Okay. So here are our 4 cards. Let's see bottom of the deck before we proceed. Okay. Knight of Cups. So, love that. Charging ahead from the heart. So 6 of Swords, 9 of Cups, love that. 3 of Pentacles, building a new plan. Oh, the Star, my favorite. I love it. Okay. So, coming over here, justice is clarified by the Page of Wands, which is, you know, coming back into that youthful, passionate energy. But here it's very soft, and this card speaks a lot to discovering magic, discovering the dynamic flow of everything around you, and how participation in that, you know, shapes our reality, and how we shape reality through our participation, and the way that everything is connected. You'll notice her eyes are closed and she is blooming. So she is finding that dynamic kind of Shakti life force energy within that flows through her and is also flowing through all of creation, and is sort of keeping everything in that dynamic, connected, synergistic relationship that is the basis of magic, if you are so inclined. So clarifying justice, I just heard rediscovering the magic. We'll see that. I don't know if that's the main message here, but that's what I heard. It's that it's kind of like a fresh perspective that is allowing this justice to take place. And it's like a pulling back almost to make space for a rebalancing. Okay. 6 of Swords here. So 6 of Swords speaks to moving on to calmer waters. This also does show a little bit of a funeral procession here, a crossing of the river Styx, so to speak. But this is very nice to see here with the 7 of Wands saying that, you know, we're passing away from this conflict, this, you know, this, it's kind of just an ugly energy here, the 7 of Wands, that we're moving away from that. And there has been a little bit of a loss, but it's, you know, there's something new on the other side. So whatever grief needs to be attended to from this is also saying honor that. 9 of Cups with our 6 of Wands. So I love this card because who doesn't want to take a time out and have a nice bubble bath to restore themselves? So this victory, it's almost like she rode the mosquito home, and then this is at home enjoying some indulgence after, you know, having moved away from all of this. And this is also saying, you know, it's satisfaction, it's wish fulfillment. It's also, I don't want to say biding your time, but taking your time. There's no need, you know, this energy And we talked about the King of Wands at the beginning, kind of makes you feel like you have to keep pushing, like you have to be going, or else you're going to miss out, right? And this is saying the right answer is take a moment to indulge. So 3 of Pentacles with our King of Swords and Tower. And this speaks to, this is kind of like a moment of assessment. You know, this is a card usually of collaboration, kind of building a master plan. Right now, this is sort of assessing gains as well as losses, and taking a moment to see where everything is before moving forward, which really tracks with our 6 of Swords coming out here and our 9 of Cups. 6 of Swords indicates there has been a little bit of, there's been a cost. There's been a little bit of a loss. And perhaps it's just of energy, but in whatever the situation has been. And so having kind of moved out of it, 6 of Swords, taken some time to rejuvenate, 9 of Cups, you're in a better place to, you know, check in with what has come to pass, what is still available, and make wise choices moving forward. You know, this, our little snail friend here is kind of like a little bit like a conscious figure here, conscience, like Jiminy Cricket, kind of helping her work through the situation. And then we finish here with the Star. And this is really, this actually is like the ultimate of what I was talking about at the beginning about, you know, being in harmony with nature, being in harmony with the unconscious realms. This is about finding your place in the cosmos, in the cosmic dance of things, like singing your unique song. This is a card of Aquarius, which is, you know, uniqueness, individuality, and expression, but also of communities, of altruism, of technology, astrology. Aquarius is a little bit of like the, you know, a little bit of the unicorn of the zodiac, so to speak, but has their own unique expression. And that unique expression, it is unique, meaning particular to that individual, but it's also still very much connected to the whole. It has a part to play in the whole. It is meant to be unique because its uniqueness in coordination and cooperation with other uniquenesses, you know, keeps the whole thing turning and flowing and in balance. And that's really what's happening here. There's a restoration of harmony. There's some justice, moving away from that tough energy. And the Star is also, you know, the key words for the Star are healing, hope, and inspiration. And I do get a sense that there is definitely some healing taking place after what's been this difficult interval or interlude, if you will. And so this is speaking, especially coming under the Devil with the 8 of Pentacles here. This is healing out that devil energy, first of all. And perhaps it is, you know, 3 of Pentacles and 8 of Pentacles are very related. They're both about learning and mastery and building something. Interestingly, even though the 8 is higher, it is a little bit more of that learning card, whereas the 3 of Pentacles is a little bit more about like the master builder. It's like mastery to become the master builder. It's a little out of order. But here, perhaps, you know, applying yourself in that course of study, in whatever that means for you, whether you're just working on a new routine or actually studying something, but kind of getting into that step-by-step process is what's helping clear out this devil and come into the Star energy. So definitely some major healing happening here, and just this is so refreshing to see these 2 cards at the top there, which just bring a sense of rest and rightness. Again, right place in the cosmos. Okay. I'm going to leave that there. I hope that served, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.